Hi, I'm Nicole Danielle.
And I'm Meghan Lee.
And this is Romance on the Rocks podcast, where two bookish biddies imbibe and share their love of romance novels. On today's episode, we are kind of doing a recap of season 1 as we delve into season 2. And we'll be talking about some booby prizes, some favorite quotables, some favorite moments, and our favorite romantic reminders on this episode. Meghan, what are you drinking today?
I wish I could say I was drinking something fun and exciting, but I'm drinking coffee. I don't know if you could tell by our pre-podcast conversation, but I am having a little bit of an off day and I needed the caffeine boost. But even though I'm not doing an alcohol beverage, let's see if I can turn this. This is my Jane Austen mug.
I love that.
Yeah, I got this from my friend Jess, and it's got all my Jane Austen-y goodness on there. So I figured even if the contents weren't exciting, the mug itself was. So that would at least make up for it. And let's talk about your drink, because I've been waiting to hear about this one.
Well, this is a concoction that my husband Bob came up with, the pizzatini. Yes, folks, you heard that right.
So gross sounding.
The pizzatini. It's akin to a Bloody Mary, but it's her bastardized sister.
I can't imagine. Okay, so what's in this?
So first of all, we have a Parmesan cheese rim. And then we have vodka-infused pizza herb Bloody Mary mix. And then my favorite part, personally, of the pizzatini is what's on the skewer that goes with it. It's little balls of sausage and little mini mozzarella balls and a pepperoni.
You know, like a pickled mushroom or something might be a good ad for the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry. I don't think I can get behind this pizzatini. Bob, I love you, but I am not sold on this beverage.
He made it back in his bartending days for a customer who was like, you know, it'd be great. Pizza in a martini or something along that line. It was like challenge accepted, fucker. I got that.
Yeah. I mean, it looks beautiful.
It's pretty.
It's well crafted.
I can't say it's the best thing I've put in my mouth. We're doing it. I'll probably honestly switch to wine halfway through. It's a novelty item, right? And I really just go for the snack portion of it, really. But
when you told me this was your aim, I believe the retching sound I made was not something that we wanted to keep on the podcast. And you tried to explain it to me in advance. I'm like, nah, I need to have this be my raw reaction. I need to know what's in this while we're on air because it just sounds awful.
Yeah.
All right. So you're being adventurous. I
feel like my
mild.
stomach is finally getting back in order after the holidays.
Okay. Well, so we know what we're drinking.
Yeah. Or not drinking.
Exactly.
Meghan, let's start by recapping your season 1 books. Do you want to just go through the list of your season 1 books and talk about what spice level they were?
Yeah. So my very first book was Beauty Contest Nurse. I chose that one specifically because the cover was amazing. It was this kind of 1960s beauty, and the book was about a VA nurse who was going on this trip down south, and it just sounded interesting. It didn't get much past poblano. There was a couple of, if I'm remembering, impetuous kisses, something like that, yeah, and not much else. But we did learn about corn diseases and nutritional deficiencies. So I still will say that was an education. After that, then it was Younger Sister by Kathleen Norris. Also an older book. At the time, I did not realize that book was actually written in, I believe, the 90s. The copy I had was published in the 1960s, and it felt old-fashioned. I just didn't realize how old-fashioned it was at the time. And I liked the way Kathleen Norris wrote. I just didn't particularly care for this story. That was a poblano. Also, a few little kisses, a few hints of there being bedroomly duties, but there wasn't much beyond that. I think my one reference to breasts in that book was after she had gotten out of the swimming pool and she was just breathing heavily from the exercise. So we didn't have much exciting, entertainment in that one. However, the book after that, Heart of Nashville, was written by a gentleman, which I think changed the perspective of the meetups in that book, shall we say. They were a little bit more saucy. there was a lot of very quick jumping into bed. There were a lot of, funny ways of describing sex, and everybody was getting it on in that book. I mean, it was just couple after couple after couple falling into bed. That one was a habanero, which is the spiciest my books got this time around.
Yeah.
And not from a way that really did anything for me. I think it was just habanero based on how graphic some of the descriptions were. Not necessarily because I was like, ooh, this steamy, it's doing it for me. Nah, not really. So that was Heart of Nashville. And that is a book that really for us brought up the topic of what is romance. And I still think that's a great thing that we will continue exploring as this goes on, is what actually counts as romance. So if nothing else, that book brought around some good topic of conversation.
Yeah.
And then 3 more. We're going to Thanksgiving, your favorite holiday. I had A Thanksgiving to Remember by Margaret Watson. That one was jalapeno. It was definitely a little more spicy than A Few Chaste Kisses, but very full of consent, which was one of my favorite parts of this book, because up until that point, you and I had many books where it felt as though there were a lot of forceful interactions that were not necessarily with the consent of the woman involved. And so this book had a lot of pleasantries when it came around to asking permission and, making sure that there were set boundaries and not crossing boundaries. And I enjoyed that. Just a very kind of light read. And there was kidnapping, which made it extra fun. And amnesia. So if you like kind of soap opera type things, that was a fun book. Familiar Christmas, which again, I love the concept. I didn't particularly love the main character. To me, she just felt kind of shallow and lacking. And so I didn't get into the book as much as I probably could have. There may be a time when I revisit that series just to see if there's another book that, is a little bit more what I was hoping for. So it wasn't a loss. It was still a quick, fun read. And it gave us a lot of fun things to talk about. The Buster Big Boy, I believe, was one of the names of the dolls
Molly
that shows up. Yeah, and Molly McBride.
Yeah.
So we did want to patent those for future
sex toys.
Sex toys for marital aids, because I do think Mr. Big Boy and Molly McBride are fantastic names for that.
Oh, 100%.
And then right. I ended the year on a high note, which was A Charming Christmas Arrangement by Heatherly Bell. I loved the characters. I thought the writing was really smart and funny and insightful. And I enjoy when somebody is able to really kind of take a step back from everything and kind of see the humor in their own profession. And I think she kind of poked fun at writers in a way. And I thought it was a really nice read. So I highly recommend that one of everything I read. And I think I skipped my ratings. Familiar Christmas was a poblano, because that was another one where there were a couple kisses, and then it was then they woke up the next morning. You didn't get a whole lot of interaction. Charming Christmas Arrangement, jalapeno, a little bit spicier. And that was also more by reference than necessarily getting a lot of graphic details. But I still felt like it approached it in a way that kind of gave more of a background and a feeling to it. So that got jalapeno.
Yeah.
Now yours, my dear.
I started off
big list of your books.
I started off with The Vikings Chosen by Quinn Loftus, which was a poblano. Not really a whole lot happening. There was some minor sexual, I don't like the word minor. There was some sexual molestation, sexual assault things that were icky that I did not care for. Not from the main character hero, but from the antagonist, the evil guy, whatever. And I got no closure from that book because it was a series and I didn't realize it. But yeah.
Yeah, you had the cliffhanger. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Then I kept on with princesses and read The Princess by Jude Devereaux. That got a little jalapeno. There was some sex in a dirty bathtub. So you'll have that. And then there was sex in a steamy Floridian night during a storm. So we had that. Mm-hmm. Then my Bluegrass King that we thought was about music, but was not. It was about horse racing by Janet Daly. That went back to Poblano. That was part of her Americana series and the state of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And there was some icky assault things and infantilization and things we didn't really care for when we discussed about it. And then I moved into Stuffed, a Thanksgiving romance by Jessica Gaziala. That was habanero. I loved it. It was so spicy and delicious and had pie and potato chips, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I definitely want to read more of her in the future, whether it's for the podcast or for my own happy enjoyment. And then things flipped. I went from habanero to milk and less than a green pepper with 1225 Christmas Tree Lane by Debbie Macomber. You know what, Meghan? We learned how to pronounce her name correctly, though. So
we did. And I like that we added milk to our Scoville chart. I think that needs to officially be added in because this won't be the last time. Yeah. And did we make on our chart, did we put the little side of pepper spray? I don't know that we put that on there.
I mentioned it as a footnote, but I can certainly revamp that.
I think that might be something for us to do because I love milk. You adding milk was just perfect.
But then things flipped again with A Wallflower Christmas by Lisa Kleypas. Habanero, back at it, back in the heat. It was Bridgerton-esque. It was a nice Regency romp, if you will. And it was a delightful, fast read. And it gave me a wonderful romantic reminder that I was able to institute in my own life by writing my husband a love note for Christmas, which he enjoyed. And I felt really inspired writing it for him. So, yeah.
And I love that that's how you ended as well. We both ended on high notes for the year. And I think that's fantastic because there were a couple books that if we had ended on those for the year would have kind of felt like a letdown.
Yeah. So Bob and I were talking briefly today because I poured through my first official book of 2025 already. And he was saying we need to add potentially, just a suggestion, a new way of measuring books in addition to our spicy Scoville scale. He was talking about how some of the books that we've read have been thinner, less pages, right? Like under 200 pages.
Oh, no, I know where this is going.
He was saying we should call those growers. Anything in the 200 to like 400 range is a shower. And anything over that would be girthy.
Yeah, I was waiting for the girth. I'm like, this is a girthy thing. You know, you're not wrong. Although, you know, there's a lot of statistics to go in this one because, you know, are we talking like a paperback that is maybe large print? That could be a false girthy. I don't know.
It could. Food for thought.
Thanks, Bob.
So one of my favorite things, and I'm glad we're still going to be doing as we move forward in season 2, is the Booby Prize. You know, I get super excited about it. I don't know why. It just gives me a special thrill.
I think it's like a treasure hunt in the book. Yes. It's something else to kind of be aware of. So when you find it, it's like one of those moments where you've got not eureka. What's the thing? Like, and not bingo. What do you yell? Well, maybe it's bingo. Boobies. I don't know. I feel like I feel like whatever we're yelling, somebody help me out with this word that's escaping me. I need more coffee. I just feel like it's a treasure hunt and you find it. In my case, you highlight it, you dog-ear the page. Nicole writes it in a nice little notebook like a good girl. She also knows most of the time she's going to beat me. She is picking much spicier books.
I will tell you, though, Meghan, how I marked it in my current book is with a bobby pin.
But nice.
Because I like always have bobby pins laying around. They make great bookmarkers.
No, that's a fantastic idea. I like that. A bobby for the booby.
A bobby for the booby. Mm-hmm. So, episode 1, my book, Vikings Chosen 1, page 16. Episode 2, my book, The Princess 1, page 15. Then we had a little flipperoo. Mm-hmm. Episode 3, not shocking, Heart of Nashville, 1 at page 22. I don't see how we could have avoided that. And then episode 4, my book, Stuffed, page 12. And then episode 5, it was you again with Familiar Christmas. But ouch, page 71, we had to wait for that.
Okay, can we talk about that? I won by default. I don't even feel like that one counts as a win because your book had 0 mentions of breasts.
I feel like there needs to be some kind of rule. If you're writing a romance novel, you have to at least say heaving chest or something.
Something, right?
How do you get through an entire romance novel and not mention breasts a single time? Well, Debbie Macomber did it.
Right. She didn't tell us how a sweater was fitting, if somebody's curves were all in the right places, if her measurements were, to be admired. Nothing. So I won by default, and I feel like that's a little unfair. I don't want to even, I'm going to call that a draw at this point, because we both know, had you picked any other book, page 71 would not have been the winner.
Right. And then episode 6, Wallflower Christmas, got it at page 21. So the ultimate booby prize, though, for season 1 goes to Stuffed, and it was page 12. But I don't know if you recall, it was a very innocent breast reference. She was She was talking how the boob fairy passed her by and didn't get any boobs growing up.
Well, it was a very innocent reference, just talking about the fact that even if she had been somehow younger, developed, this potential romantic interest of hers still wouldn't have had any interest in her because of the age difference at that time. I remember, because it was one of those books where it felt very respectful from the perspective of that age difference, because we'd seen a lot of age gaps up until this point that were a little questionable. And in this book, they handled that gap in a really, intelligent and realistic way.
So, Meghan, favorite quotables from the books? Because I have actually some favorite quotables from some of your books, particularly Beauty Contest Nurse.
Yeah, we're going back to the OG there. And I think I probably am with you on that, because all the other quotables I think I've picked were kind of sweet,
inspirational,
and thoughtful.
Yes.
Inspirational. But when it comes to just the pure humor of it, I am on board with Beauty Contest Nurse having a couple of the funniest quotes, which was when our main character, Andy, went to the beach and he was helping out another gentleman who was caught up in the waves. He was having some sort of emergency with his surfboard. As he was trying to get out of the water, he forced himself erect. And then when they were talking about the waves, they were calling it a main of spume.
I still
don't know if I'm saying that right. Spume,
oh God.
Spoom. Either way, it just sounds dirty and wrong that he forced himself erect in a main of spume.
And I love it.
And I know that yours goes back quite a ways as well, one of your favorite quotes. And it seems like we're also going for the funny one.
Yeah.
What do you got?
The Princess by Jude Devereaux. Breathe for Danny Montgomery, baby. Breathe. And he was doing the weirdest form of CPR after he rescued her out of the ocean. Yeah. Apparently, we were just all about the ocean rescues.
That's true. Both of our quotes are from the ocean rescues. But what made yours so much weirder was not only was he doing rescue, he was doing CPR while also talking about her beautiful figure.
And her breasts.
Yes. So wrong. It's just so weird.
I remember some key words, too, that you had in some of your books. Thrumming.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that was a cool word, which I had not read before really in any book.
Yeah.
And a good way to refer to things. And Meghan, it's in my book that's coming up on the next episode. She used thrumming.
See? There are so many good words. So many good words. I feel like we've had quite a few words that we were able to kind of giggle about as this was going on.
Yeah, for sure. So, favorite moments from 2024. What are some of your favorite moments from last season?
Let's start with yours, because I'm still working on my coffees here.
Allete from Vikings Chosen.
Uh-huh.
I had to edit out so much because we got on this huge laughter kick and I could not get control of my shit. Because Allete, the female's character name, and I kept saying it like the duck from the Affleck commercials.
And it sounded like you were doing an AI robot type of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I loved it.
I will actually insert the original recording here, full bore, with all our laughter and giggles.
Oh my God. Yes, please. Yeah. We couldn't stop.
We couldn't. So here it is. And we have our female main character, Allete.
This was I looked up how to pronounce this. I was hopeful that maybe it was Allete, but the way that it's spelled with a double L and the way I looked it up, it's Allete. Although
we did try Allete.
Allete. So, Allete Ouvray is an English princess. Fate, however, has other plans in store as Torben discovers Allete. Sorry, I can't stop myself. So okay. That's like having a computer just insert name here. Okay, hold on. Okay.
Can we do a quick experiment? I want you to go back to one of the sentences with her name. Okay, and when you get to her name...
I don't know if I can do it.
Yes, you can. When you get to her name, you pause. You don't say it, because I'm going to say it.
Okay.
And then you just keep going. Okay.
Fate, however, has other plans in store. Hold on.
You got this.
As Torben discovers...
Allete. No, come on. We gotta make it work. Start again.
Okay. As Torben discovers...
Allete.
Can't even do it. Okay.
You can.
Hidden talents. Okay. We're not gonna do it because I can't get through it. I'm already laugh crying. Okay.
Okay, so then, interestingly, too, I had more than one Jarl. I had a Jarl Magnus in the Vikings Chosen, and then I had a Jarl T. Montgomery in the Princess. What are the odds of having multiple Jarls back-to-back books?
It's such an odd name. I do not understand, how that happens.
Yeah. And then Lanconian raisins. Who could forget Lanconian raisins? Because
this would be on my list too.
Yeah. Not only is it the key to saving a kingdom, but it's how you defeat Nazi Germany in World War II.
Raisins for allies, baby. Raisins for allies. You can't lose.
Oh my gosh.
You can't.
So just for reference for our listeners, in case you missed that episode last season, Jarl J.T. Montgomery is trying to help save the princess's kingdom. And his big brainstorm idea is instead of making wine from their grapes, he's going to make raisins to support the war efforts. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lanconian raisins. And then learning moments. Along with that, we learned about, and Meghan, now I'm getting conflicting information on how to pronounce this damn disease. Pellagra,
well, we can pronounce
some people say.
Want.
Yeah. Some people say pellagra. Some people say pellagra. Either way, it's a deficiency involving corn. And we learned about that from your book, Beauty Contest Nurse. I learned about vanadium, a metal that really exists and is named after Freya, goddess. And then I learned that some people refer to their hoo-haws as sex.
Yes, they do. We've had a lot of good moments, I feel like, in this particular podcast. And I had a moment, and I'm listening to you, and I lost it as soon as I started laughing about Lanconian raisins. I was like, no, that takes the cake. That's everything. I don't need to think about anything else. I mean, if a better moment comes back to me, I'll let you know. But right now, I feel like Lanconian raisins is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
What would you say your favorite romantic reminder was from season 1?
I think it comes back to the communication. I mean, if we're going to do a serious romantic reminder, that is the number one thing is communication. We've seen in each and every one of these books that the relationships break down as soon as somebody is not honest or holds something back or, gives conflicting information. There's just communication, you guys. And I know that doesn't sound romantic, but I am telling you, being open and vulnerable and allowing yourself to be truthful with your partner leads to a lot more romance because there's a lot more trust. So please communicate.
Yeah.
But beyond that, if I was going to pick a fun one, for the love of God. If I was going to pick a fun one, though, I would say in my younger sister book, I love the fact that she had little costumes with which to please him.
Oh, yes, the costumes.
Yeah, I just thought that was the cutest way to describe her knees or her little, shifts that she would wear to bed. And in my head, I can see them as being kind of like glamorous little robes with feathers on the wrists. So yeah, costumes with which to please him.
I love that. I did enjoy that. I love a good costume. For me, I think the Christmas love notes. I just really latched onto that one. I don't know if it was because it was the end of the season or what, but it was something like I felt like I could do it real and in the moment and actually incorporate it easily into my own love life. So
I like that.
all right. Are we ready to tease our first official books of season 2?
Sure.
We're going political, but in a romantic way.
And yeah, I don't want anybody to think that we're going to be on here spouting our own political
No, absolutely
viewpoints.
not. Yeah.
We are reading books that are kind of in the political realm of romance. So I have a book called A Vote of Confidence by Robin Lee Hatcher. And I think that this is going to be a Christian romance novel. So my guess is that it's not going to be super spicy, but from what I can tell, it's absolutely going to be a Christian romance novel. The publisher is Zondervan. So my cute little gal here, we're in a period piece. We've got a historical romance.
Okay.
So, who says a woman can't do a man's job? Put up or shut up. Complaining about Bethlehem Springs' dissolute mayor candidate, Gwen Arlington is challenged to take on the role herself. For 7 years, she's carved out an independent life in the bustling mountain town of Bethlehem Springs, Idaho, teaching piano, writing for the local newspaper. But now she's a single woman running for mayor. And in 1915, this decision is bound to stir up trouble. Morgan McKinley is fed up with the delays that hinder construction of the New Hope Health Spa, a place where both rich and poor can come for rest and healing. New to the area, he's determined that serving as the mayor would help him push through his agenda for progress. Gwen and Morgan each want to prove that they are the most qualified candidate, not only to the voters, but to each other. And so sparks fly as the two campaign. Although Morgan has learned to guard his heart as fiercely as Gwen guards her independence, could they learn to be allies instead of adversaries? So a little feminism, a little romance, a little mountain newcomer action. Should be a good one.
All right.
What do you got?
Is this your first historical romance, Megan?
Yes, because anything I've had that's historical before was actually in its time period when it was written. So even though I've read older books, at the time they were written, they were contemporary. So this is the first one that's a contemporary novel, but written historically.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
We'll see how the tropes and the themes are.
All right. So what do you have for your political novel?
I have Till I Kissed You by Laura Trentham. And we have this cute little couple just living their best life.
They look sweet.
So here's the back. Reagan Lovell grew up on the wealthy Mississippi side of Cotton Bloom. And now, as mayor, she's determined to save it from the fate of so many small towns. Part of her plan to help the local economy is the Labor Day Tomato Festival. If only she wasn't being undermined by Sawyer Fournette, who's planning a crayfish-themed celebration on the Louisiana side of the river on the very same weekend. The pranks and sabotage are getting out of hand, and she's had it with him, no matter how much she enjoyed those stolen hours in his truck bed so many years ago. Sawyer knows that Reagan's never forgiven him for breaking her heart, but despite his reputation as a low-class swamp rat, he'd never hurt the woman who still secretly drives him crazy with desire. Someone in Cotton Bloom has it out for her, though, and Sawyer intends to watch her back, and the rest of her, too, if she can ever let go of her distrust. Will a common enemy be enough to unite them and finally fulfill the promises they made one passionate night under the stars in a truck bed?
I need to take a wild guess here, but I think that the common enemy between crawfish and tomatoes must be cornbread.
Enemy
just a
or
guess.
friend?
He said they had a common enemy. I'm just thinking, like, cornbread's like, I'm not going down with you two. I'll take you down. I think we found our first food of the year is what we're finding.
Oh, there is food abound in this book because I already finished reading it in 25 hours.
Did you write a menu already?
No, but I will add that to the show notes.
Okay, perfect.
No, there's butter pecan, however you want to say it, butter pecan ice cream. There's jambalaya. There's crawfish. There's tea cakes. There's just food abound in this book. There's barbecue.
I think you need to pick one food, though. And I feel like it's got to be tomato or crawfish, right?
Yeah.
So we'll have to have a vote. Like, are you team tomato or team crawfish?
And I'm trying to think of what drink, not a pizzatini, to do with that. Even though...
Oh, no. The pizzatini was already grossing me out. I love crawfish and I love tomatoes, but please, dear God, do not make a drink out of that.
Like a crayfish slushy or so gross.
Oh, no. What is wrong with you?
No. You know what they do in the book on multiple occasions? They drink Jameson. So I think it'll probably be something with Jameson, honestly.
Okay. That is allowed.
That is allowed. No crayfish teenies.
No, ma'am.
Before we sign off, I want to mention that we have teamed up with a really awesome business called The Ripped Bodice. It is a collection of 2 bookstores, one in Brooklyn and one in LA, who are owned by 2 sisters, Leah Koch and B. Hodges Koch. They focus entirely on romance novels. That's all that's in their bookstores. So, there's no road atlases. There's no computers for dummies. It's all romance novels. And they really pride themselves on inclusivity and diversity. And they are a woman-owned LGBTQ plus business, which we love. Mm-hmm. We've joined their affiliate program. And when you purchase books from them using our affiliate link, you'll be supporting their awesome business and our podcast because we get a little kickback. So we'll post the link, but if you want to hear it, it is therippedbodice.com/AFF/Romance on the Rocks podcast _26867. I know that's a lot to remember, so I will totally post it in the show notes and on our website too. But I think it's a really nice alternative to ordering books from perhaps some more mainstream big box companies. It's more about promoting real people and real women and encouraging their business and helping our podcast too. So yeah,
I love
if you are shopping for books, they're a great resource.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And as always, you can support our show too by buying us a book just directly with Buy Me a Coffee program, which is buymeacoffee.com/romance on the rocks.
I like the way you sang that. That was beautiful. Just gives it more flair.
Right?
All right, kids. Thank you for joining us today for Romance on the Rocks. Please like, subscribe, and follow. And if you are a hopelessly romantic, bookish biddy like us, think about giving us a review on Apple iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you catch your podcasts. Your support really means the world to us. And until next time, just remember that you are loved.